All right.
This meeting is being recorded.
Yeah. All right, everybody. It's me, Jack Mitchell. Welcome back to another Wealth Management Advisory Club meeting. We had the extinguished honor to having Equitable Advisors come in to speak to us today. So you may have heard that name because they were the the accounting advisor recruiting fair yesterday. We do have Brandon Eigenberg and we do have Stephen Fox here today to talk to us. And by the way, Stephen Fox is a former alumni of FDU, so it's actually an amazing honor to have him here as well. And yeah, with that out of the way, I'm gonna let you guys take over from here then.
All right, thanks, Jack. Everyone, it's a pleasure to be here today. As Jack said, my name is Brandon Eigenberg. Steve is absolutely, he's the special one. He's the alum. I'm located up in Boston. Steve's on Long Island. We're excited to be here today. I don't know who was on campus yesterday for you guys, but it's good that we had some representation there. So, Jack had kind of given me a bullet list of, things that are typically covered in these meetings. But, so I'll get in. I have just some slides, that we can go through on that stuff. First, I figured, just give you a little bit of background on myself, and then I'll let Steve do the same. I've been with Equitable now for 15 years, since 2007. So I came in right out of college, just as all of you are considering to do. In my opinion, coming in right out of college, there's no better time to get into this business because, you are getting the opportunity to start a business right out of the gates. And likely your only obligation is really to yourself. You're probably not married with kids and a mortgage and, all these things that pop up later in your life that might cause some trepidation, to getting into a career like this and building a business. So, you're at the prime at this point. So I guess maybe I'm proof in the pudding that you can do it, and I'm no rocket scientist over here. So that's good. And yeah, I've been, we'll kind of talk about a little bit of the different ways that we prospect a little bit, when we talk about the day in the life. I'm part of a group called the Retirement Benefits Group. Steve has a little bit of a different, approach as well, than I do as far as growing his business. And then I run a team here in Boston, been running the team for about 6 years now. So having some success there, having a lot of fun. And yes, I'm a Boston sports fan. So hold that against me. However you feel, the Patriots suck now. So, we're just taking that on the chin, after however many years of success. So anyways, Steve, I'll let you give some background as well.
Most certainly. Thanks, Brandon. So again, my name is Stephen Fox with Equitable Advisors, now just about to celebrate my 28th year on October 1st. And I guess I started right out of college, but I started at a small brokerage firm. If anybody, any of you have ever watched the movie Wolf of Wall Street, picture that. And I lasted there 9 months, and I got my Series 7, my Series 63, and learned the most valuable lesson in the world, and that was to learn how to cold call. Because once I learned how to do that, I could speak to anybody at any wealth, at any age, and it didn't matter that I was a 23-year-old kid. I knew that I wasn't going to be in the career for long if I stayed there, so I left as soon as I got licensed and came to Equitable, and have been here ever since. So this is where I got my first client, and kind of cut my teeth in the business. And as Brandon said, this role is an amazing role for somebody right out of school. And I would tell you that in this business, in your first couple of years, you'll always feel overworked and hopefully not underpaid from the get-go. But the proof is in the pudding as to where wealth management is and what you can do. And the reason I joined Equitable at the time, and they were still a traditional insurance company, was because they were moving to a financial planning model. And with by the end of my third year, we had moved the sales force out of the insurance company into the broker dealer, and we're truly a wealth management firm doing comprehensive and holistic fee-based financial planning. We went from what was referred to as a level 4 broker dealer to a level 3, and it's been a wonderful trip ever since. And I always like to tell people, and my wife said it to me years ago, and she said, you don't have a real job. And I didn't understand what she meant. I was highly insulted at the time. I said, what do you mean? She goes, you work when you want to work, you work with who you want to work with, and you decide how much you want to make. And I said, well, if that isn't a real job, I'll do that every day of the week. And she said, no, idiot, I'm jealous. She goes, I work a regular job. She was a facilities manager for Barnes & Noble when they were building all the big superstores. And she goes, we could have a great year. My department can have a great year, and I still might not get a raise. And I'm chained to my desk, and I can't take off when I want to take off like you can and go play golf or go do this or go do that. And I said, well, then I'm glad I'm doing what I'm doing. I say now as I'm 52 years old, it was wisdom, but the reality, it was kind of dumb luck. That I stumbled upon it because I wanted to be a chef and didn't even want to go to college. And my father made me go and said, you're going to at least go and get an associate's, then you can go to culinary school afterwards. And I never did. And I stayed in college and came into this business. So I've been in the management game for 15 years, retired for 3, and then came back in. And I've been doing it again for 6 years now. And my partner, Colleen, and I run a team of 27 advisors, ranging from folks that I've hired back in 1997 to ones who I've hired today. So with that said, I'll turn it back over to Brandon.
All right. Awesome. Well, see, the thing is, I've never had Steven's cooking, so I don't know if he should have gone to culinary school or not, So, but he's in this business 28 years, so he's a killer advisor. So we know that much. So, I will go ahead. I'll share my screen. I don't love being the guy to do, just slideshow presentations, but I also don't want to be the one who, you're just staring at the whole time here. So can hopefully everybody see the screen. Jack asked me to, kind of hit on a few different items. So we will do that. And what I would say also, because, I can no longer see anybody, is, everybody, anyone has a question, chime in, interrupt me. This does not have to be like a very structured, hey, you got to listen to every single word we say and then wait till the end for questions. Make it very informal. Please, ask questions as they come up. So, we'll talk about a day in the life of an advisor, kind of the current state of wealth management, I guess, as I see it, and Steve sees it, any career advice that we might have, and, some opportunities with Equitable. Again, as Jack said, hey, we were there yesterday. So, that opportunities exist. So, I look at a day in the life, and for me, it kind of falls into 3 different, arenas. Number one, absolute most important thing is we got to be focused on our clients, right? And, we're either meeting with existing clients or we're looking for new clients, right? And, and there's a number of different ways that we can look for new clients, right? And, I can kind of speak to the model that, I grew up in the business. And then, Steve alluded a little bit to some of the work he did as far as making calls. But then, he can talk a little bit about how he, prospects and whatnot. And, networking in our business is huge, right? That's what this business is all about. That's a great way to meet new people. And so you're constantly networking, no matter, really what the forum is, right? And so as far as prospecting, what really got me to come to Equitable versus another firm as I was looking at this business coming out of college was the track that I was going to have to run on as far as, building a client base. And, that I mentioned, I'm part of this group called the Retirement Benefits Group. And what it is, it's a specialized group within Equitable that's focused on building a business in the public employee retirement plan space. So what's that mean? Equitable is the largest provider of retirement plans in the K-12 public school marketplace and the municipal marketplace. So with like police, fire, anyone who works for a city or town. And so we're going in under the guise of, hey, look, we're one of your benefit providers through the school district or the city or town. And, we can help you set up your retirement plan. And that's really our footstep into their, financial household, right? And, we feel like, the teachers and the police and the fire, while they might not be the doctors and the lawyers and the business owners that traditionally advisors want to go after, well, hey, they're married to the doctors and the lawyers and the business owners. And so we're able to get in the household a different way. And it's a volume-based business. So we're able to meet a lot of people. It's a captive audience. And then, you go, you network, you get referrals from there. And, you make that not your only marketplace. But for me, that made a ton of sense, right? Because I said, all right, when I thought about coming into this business and having to work with, only my friends and family, I'm one of two children in my family, and I'm the oldest, so I couldn't hit up my brother for any money. I have my parents, and then all my extended family was across the country. And I say all my extended family. Each of my parents only have one sibling. So I did not come from this big family. And then all of my friends were in the exact same position that I was in, just graduating college. Maybe their parents had some money, they put them through private college or whatnot, but they didn't have any money, right? You're just trying to scrape some dollars together to go out on the weekend. So I was like, I need a different market to go to. And so Equitable really had the playbook, I felt, to run, in that regard. Now that I know a lot more 15 years later, I would have been just fine because Equitable has the playbook to run, not just in our retirement benefits group. Steve, maybe if you want to talk a little bit about that side of things.
Most certainly. So, very similar in the sense of what Brandon does in the public school market and in the defined benefit market with cops and firemen. While my team doesn't proactively or sit in schools and work with the teachers, we look for our business in other ways. And, there's two basic ways that one can build a practice. There's warm and there's cold. And cold is great, but again, it's a monster volume business because you have to build the relationship. So yeah, you have to make a lot of calls. You have to set a lot of appointments. Your contact to close ratio takes a lot longer in a cold process. But that's how I started. We've gotten a lot smarter over the years since then in such things as networking and target markets. So I took a course, I guess, probably 9 months into the business called Richard Wildman's Target Marketing. And it came down to who do you know and who do they know? And so I took the approach and I looked at who was at my wedding and I realized that there were a lot of wealthy people and successful people at my wedding. And realized, well, there are a lot of people in the restaurant industry and a lot of people in the legal profession. My father, my grandfather, a few uncles, a sister, a brother-in-law, all being attorneys. I knew what it took to run a small law firm. And I knew what it took to run a restaurant. I had done every job in a restaurant since I was 13. Unlike Brandon being one of 10 kids, my dad invested in a bunch of different businesses, so we always had jobs. And I started working by doing laundry in a restaurant when I was 13 and basically did every job there ever was in a restaurant. So I had my epiphany. And unlike today, where I can just use Zoom info and build targeted lists to call, I went down to the library and took every restaurant, pizza shop, bodega, deli on Long Island and Queens, every lawyer in Nassau, Suffolk, and Queens, and picked up the phones and called them. Then I also joined my alumni association through high school. I went to a little place in North called St. Benedict's Prep that some of you may have heard of, and got on the alumni board. And from there, people just came to me from the alumni association, other alumni, and would put me in touch with people. Then I joined the Chamber of Commerce in my new hometown of Huntington, Long Island, and got involved there. And since then, I've been on the board of about 5 different charities. And I do a lot of charitable work in different areas. And it really just came down to all networking. And I learned that, I guess, the idea of it through my dad, as that's how he built his law practice. And he would just be out at different networking events, involved in different organizations, and built his client base that way. And it was no different than what he did, what I was doing. He was looking for clients. I was looking for clients. And I kind of took a page from his book and said, there isn't anybody around me that couldn't be a potential client. So always smile and always say hello. And what's amazing is that being in this business this long, I've watched clients go through their working career, retire, pay for their kids' college, pay for their kids' weddings. I've gone to their kids' weddings. I've gone to their weddings, their funerals. I've handled clients in divorce situations. I've watched 3 generations, sometimes 4 generations of clients all in one area. And it's truly rewarding and fun to see the work that you've done come to fruition. You know, when I can fly down to Florida and play golf with a client who's now retired, and they profusely thank me for helping them get there. And it's just an amazing thing. You know, I don't know what to say about it other than it's just truly amazing. So it's a lot of fun. So there's a lot of different ways of doing it. And we have our 2 models, the retirement benefits group that goes into public schools. And, you know, funny that, and Brandon didn't know that till today, that my brother-in-law is in his office and works up in the New Hampshire and Maine school district markets. And, you know, and I'm down here in Long Island, and, you know, 2 different ways of doing things, and they both are great and they both work. What this business is truly about are the person that's right for it. And I'll segue into another piece of it, just in basic career advice. And I'll start with that, is you got to find something you love to do. You got to have passion. I love to coach. I love to compete. And I like to be rewarded based on the effort that I put in. And this career gave me all those opportunities. Now, not always roses and, you know, strawberries and whipped cream and everything else. I still put in very long days, but as my kids say, I'm really annoying in the morning. And I said, why? He goes, because you wake up so happy and you're looking forward to going to work and you love what you do. And even you might work a 10, 15-hour day and you'll come home and you're still smiling. And I said, yeah, slightly exhausted, but smiling. Because it's just a wonderful thing to be able to do and see. So no matter what career you choose, find something you have a passion for. Find something that fits your personality profile. And this is a type of business for, I always say, the entrepreneurial minded, the person who likes to think outside the box, the person who's competitive. This is a great business for that type of personality. So with that said, you know, any questions for us so far? I mean, you know, we've been chatting. Anything that you guys would like to know? Anything that we can answer?
Nobody on Zoom has any questions?
I have a question.
Yep.
Okay, so I feel like in stepping into a profession like this, especially a company like this, you really need to be a go-getter. You really need to, put yourself out there. Like, what kind of advice would you give to someone who kind of doubts themselves to kind of build up this clientele and really be that overall winner in an area like this?
Yeah. So, I would say it starts with figuring out why someone is doubting themselves. Sometimes people feel like they don't know enough, right? And so that's when it's like, all right, well, we got to remember back to all the information that you're going to learn and understand also that you probably know a lot more than you think, and you know more than a lot of people know about this stuff, right? And because money and financial literacy, it's really not that strong in our country, right? So you actually you can bring a lot of value, as Steve was saying. Hey, you go play golf with a client, or you talk to a client. It happens all the time, where you get so many thanks for everything that they've done we've done for them, because they wouldn't have been able to do it without you, because they don't have the understanding, or the knowledge. So, if someone's really timid in that regard, if that's the reason, then we got to remind you, okay, you actually do know a lot. Otherwise, I would say, my answer to this would be, look, you're just having conversations with people. Everybody, it's just another person, right? And yes, we want to be talking to them about certain things. They don't expect you to know everything, right? And part of this, just looking at this slide, right? We do a lot of collaborating with others, and you come in as a junior, an entry level advisor. Well, guess what? You're going to be working with people that are more senior, and you're not going to be expected to be the one that's taking the lead on all these meetings, right? So
And
you can be empowered, with that. So, yep.
yeah, and to just kind of add to that, both in the retirement benefits group model as well as the traditional advisor model, there is no new associate that goes out on their own to run an appointment. Brandon is holding their hand. I'm holding their hand. Our senior advisors are holding their hand. The real focus in the job of a new associate, and I always say it's for the first 36 to 48 months, is client acquisition. And your job is to acquire as many clients as you can. Our job, and you do that by scheduling meetings. And our job is to take those meetings and help you turn them into clients for yourself. Brandon's got a big book of business. I've got a big book of business. I grow my business through referrals only. I haven't prospected personally since I went into management in my 27th month, I think it was, in the business. So a long, long time ago. And I have not actually prospected where I picked up the phone, other than to show people how to do it. And that's the beauty of our businesses. Once it's built, you're going to go back and you're going to work with your existing clients. You can continue earning compensation from those existing clients, and they're going to give you referrals. So if it comes down to personality, we can teach somebody everything they know how to do. We can teach them how to present. We can teach them how to make a call. What we can't do is give them that drive and desire to do that. So that's the one piece that somebody has to have, whether you're an extrovert or an introvert. If you've got a drive to help people, if you want to, truly help people, and you like to talk to people and meet people, this is an incredible career. The rest of it can all be taught, but we can't teach is those things. Those are things that either you're going to have or not have. And, I always say, out of all the sales careers out there, only about, and you may or may not agree with me, but I'd say maybe 5% of all salespeople out there in the world can do what we do. Mm-hmm. Because it's not easy, but it is fun and it is rewarding. And that's the key to it.
Yep. I definitely agree with that.
So, did that answer your question?
Yeah, both answers were really great. Thank you.
No problem, Kevin.
All right. Excellent. Anyone else? I can't remember. I can't see.
I had a quick question. So you said based on your clients, you said you're, I don't know if that's based on you specifically, like you do referrals. How would you get your initial clients, like just starting out? Is it based on people you know, or is it like maybe a cold call list that the company provides?
So Brandon's is one way, and Brandon will be takes new associates into the different school districts to meet employees, teachers, staff, or police departments or fire departments that, they go in and they service existing clients and they speak to employees who are not clients and work on building that relationship and make them clients. My side of the business and the way I did it and the way it expanded once I took my target marketing class was I made appointments with all these different successful people that had been at my wedding. And I kind of did it in the approach of, hey, you've been quite successful in your career. As you know, I've started out in a business where I'm building a practice, and I wanted to get together and have breakfast or lunch, pick your brain as to some of the things that you did early on that have set the tone and helped you become successful in your career. Now, that was great because in the meantime, they all had money, so they bought me lunch or breakfast. I didn't even have to pay for it. Two, they ended up giving me great advice and giving me referrals because I asked them, well, you probably know people who could benefit from what I'm doing. And I would give them an opportunity to give me names. If they didn't come up with any names right away, I would say, what about your accountant? What about your partner? What about this person or that person? People I knew in their lives. Oh, you know what? That's a great idea. Yeah, you should definitely speak to them. And then a bunch of them ended up doing business with me because he said, you know what? You made a lot of sense. Let me give you an opportunity. And then develop them as a much bigger client over time. They gave me a shot. I proved to them that I could do it. And then we went from there.
Cool. Any other questions on this? That was good. Yeah. I mean, Steve, you basically hit on what I do.
Sorry about that.
No. It's all good. I mean, definitely that's not my only, that's where I grew up. That's where I trained, all that stuff. It is expanded now where, hey, a lot of how Steve built his career, that's more representative now of like how I'm onboarding new clients. My team though is building their book of business, through the schools and the cities and towns. So yes, but prospecting is the number one thing. It honestly is so fun because you get to meet so many new people. And that's, you look at every new interaction as a possible new relationship. So, I think it's awesome, to move just past this slide, we can blast through, other stuff on our, in our day. Yeah. Hey, we got to prepare for meetings. There's different analysis that's done, whether it's, financial planning stuff, where we're looking at their bigger picture, or it could be looking at their portfolio, doing analysis on that, wondering what the heck's going on in the market, which, as of late, you just say, look at CNBC and say, how far did it go down today? But it's only temporary, people. It'll be fine. Then again, yeah, hey, there's going to be training. There's going to be working with others, again, whether it's on, just trying to get some ideas on how to run your business or actually working together on a client, right? So, bunch of different things. Not every day is the same, and which helps it be a career where you actually want to wake up every day and go to work, right? The current state of wealth management is, as I see it, and, we can obviously, Steve can chime in, but right now, I would say, it's very reminiscent of when I got in the business back in 2007. People are scared of what's going on. This is the really first like extended downturn since like 08, 09. And people are looking for advice for sure. And that plays in really well to, what we provide as far as our holistic planning. It is no longer an industry, I would say, that is just, hey, everybody's a stock picker, and that's all that we do. It is much more big picture. And I think, that's been the case at Equitable. I just see it throughout the industry, that other firms are trying to, people want to have more of a plan as opposed to being sold. So I think that has become a bigger focus. And, further to that point around maybe people aren't the ones picking the individual investments inside of a client's portfolio. They might be utilizing something that, hey, JP Morgan provides, that Goldman provides, that some other institutional manager that has people there building the investment models. They're saying, hey, you know what, I can tap into that and utilize their expertise. And that'll allow me to spend more time either prospecting for new clients or deepening the relationships with my existing clients. And that's going to allow me to scale, more so. Fees, everybody, I guess if they're under scrutiny, I guess that's constantly been a thing. The Vanguards, the Fidelities of the world, that are out there, trying to tell everybody you got to do things as cheap as possible. For some people, that's important. And if you know what you're doing, awesome. For others, hey, you got to pay a little bit more for professional help. That doesn't mean that, hey, you're getting gouged for professional help, but it just means that, all right, hey, everybody's pretty fee conscious nowadays. And, whether we like it or not, virtual meetings, hey, they're great for a scenario like this. You got some clown from Boston coming up, talking to you. And, you got some people local that can come see you, right? I think clients are certainly more comfortable with, virtual nowadays than they were. But in my opinion, there's no replacement for, sitting down across the table from somebody or sitting at someone's kitchen table, really getting to know them, and meeting in person. So
most certainly.
Yeah. So Steve, what do you, I guess, anything you want to add?
It's real interesting in taking a look at it and the current state, obviously, of wealth management. And, Brandon came into the business at the height of the economy. And then all of a sudden it turned real fast for a prolonged period of time. And, it happens. I've been through and started in a recession in 94 to the dot-com bust to 9/11 to the Great Recession to COVID to now, obviously, a hyperinflation almost. People always need advice. And 5 years ago, people said, no, the advisors are going by the wayside. You got your robo advisors, your Betterment, you've got Robinhood, you got this, you got that. Well, they've all but been proven very fallible. And it comes down to it. And then, as Brandon was saying, in reference to fees, it was quite interesting because Vanguard actually put out a white paper, I think it was about 5 years, 6 years ago.
Yep.
And they showed the rate of return for their funds versus the indexes, but then the real rate of return that their clients participated in. And the challenge of, in times like this especially, people get very emotional with money. It's not like a car. It's not like a house. It's not a hard asset that you can see, feel, and touch. It's a piece of paper. It's a statement. It's an app on your phone. And people would do the opposite of what you're supposed to do, and they'd sell low and they'd buy high. And we saw it in 08. People would get out at the bottom of 09, and many of them didn't get back until 13, and they missed a monster return of the market. And it took them that much longer to get back to even to start moving forward again. versus those who worked with their advisors and sat. And if you were in good quality portfolios, yes, it never feels good when your accounts are down. However, if you own a good quality portfolio, it's going to come back. And now's the time to add more if you can and continue to stay and stick with your investment plan. So that's a wonderful thing. Virtual meetings, it was amazing because I always say we're kind of on the vanguard of technology and innovation at our firm, as we always have been, from developing products to processes. And we were already doing virtual meetings prior to the COVID pandemic and the country shutting down. So the only difference was I'm not doing it in the office. I'm doing it in my home office where I hear my kids upstairs doing their work at school. And then come 2 in the afternoon, it was quite loud. And I'd have to go sit in my car and work from there. So I could, like, almost like a soundproof box. But virtual meetings have always been there. And the difference being is I would go from 15 in-person meetings a week to over 50 meetings a week. And it was a life changer. We actually had, as a company, our 2 best years ever as a branch down here, in the greater metro branch. We have an office in Secaucus, Midtown Manhattan, and Long Island. It was our best year ever. We actually happened to be the largest financial services office in the entire industry with over 700 advisors right here in the metro area. And we've got another 300 advisors in our Woodbridge office, and I think about 200 in our Edison office. And that's just New Jersey right there. And then there's a satellite in Morristown and a couple others here, there, and everywhere right around there. So it's amazing. And what's even neater is the executive VP up in Brandon's office is a great friend of mine who I've known for 20 years. And he's running an incredible program up there with all the managers, in the Boston office and all the associates up there as well. So, I mean, we have an incredibly amazing company with incredible opportunities to be an advisor, to move into management, to climb the ranks, to basically take your career in any direction that one would want to take it, to become a specialist in a particular area, to be a generalist, to run a big book of business like we do, plus run a team. I get the opportunity of having 2 careers in one, as does Brandon. So, I mean, I can't speak highly enough of it personally, but then again, I'd have to say I'm jaded because I've been doing it a long time and absolutely love it and couldn't imagine doing anything else. I know that if my career ended, the business of financial planning and wealth management ended, I still wouldn't go work for anybody. I'd always be independent and just find a different way to make a living.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. Yeah. Anybody have any questions on that? Because, we hit on a few things that are probably topical in the news or, depending on where you're getting your news, as it pertains to the market or anything. So any questions there?
Yeah, one of my professors told me that in order to kind of combat inflation, the Fed is trying to put us into a kind of recession so that there's going to be, or I should say, there's going to be a lot of job loss. And as someone who's going to be graduating this December in finance, should I be kind of worried about that and getting a job? Or
Well, yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Right now, there's underemployment. There are a ton of opportunities out there. On the wealth management side, on our side of the business, the retail financial planning and wealth management arm, we never have a slowdown in the ability to bring people in. We have the ability to continually hire, and we grow two ways. One, our client base gets bigger, our assets under management get bigger, but we also expand our advisor workforce. And we are currently looking to double our advisor workforce. We're looking to open up many more branch offices around the country, promote many people to senior management roles. That our business, and I can't speak for every business, there's a ton of opportunity out there right now. And I think there will be for another 10 to 20 years in our business.
I would agree. It's just a different structure, right? Because again, it goes back to the entrepreneurial, nature of our business too, is, hey, anybody can come in and start a business, right? Regardless of what that is. But we have a track to run on of, some actual structure for starting a business. So we're always going to be growing. If you're willing to take a bet on yourself, then this is an awesome opportunity. It remains to be seen, I think, for, other corporations and whatnot, depending on, something that we'll, touch on, as far as kind of the career advice stuff. One of the things, if you're going to be in finance is figuring out, hey, what does your path look like? Do you want to be in something that's more client facing? Do you want to be in something that's more of an analyst role, behind the scenes? Obviously, Steve and I are partial to the client facing stuff. That's what we've been doing for a long time. Doesn't mean that the back office isn't important, isn't great. But, in more of that corporate environment, you are going to be more, I guess, at risk. Someone would be, because you're not necessarily in control, right? Versus, kind of being your own boss and running your own thing.
Yeah.
So.
And if you look at what's out there, I mean, just recently, the chairman of Goldman, isn't necessarily the most PC way of saying things, but he said, everybody's going to be back in the office. Otherwise, you're not going to have jobs. There's no more virtual, no more this, no more that. So he had a few other things he said, but I'll leave those off the video. But people are back. People are working. There's going to be opportunity out there. It's finding the right passion. So one of I'd say our biggest booms in recruiting is during down markets. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people come into this business, even if it wasn't something that was forefront for them right away or in the beginning. And I love the fact that, we're all frozen here and I got my arm up in my picture, but it's interesting and fun to watch it in the sense of I started in a recession. Brandon started in a recession. You guys are graduating in a recession. So it's kind of opportune at this moment in that aspect that we're having this conversation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I don't know, Steve, like looking back, I looked at when I started, for me, like it actually was an incredible opportunity because back to people wanting advice and needing help in times of chaos, it was great because I was willing to talk to anybody. Oh, you want advice? I got some advice for you, and, it gives you an opportunity to take on clients because they're just looking for help. And if their advisor's not calling them, or they're hiding out because the market stinks and, account values are down, that's a great opportunity to come into this business and make a name for yourself right out of the gates. So I feel like, that's kind of the environment that we're in here. So, other questions?
I should have a question. Obviously, as an accounting manager, I really can't go all into this, but I think for some of our finance majors, there are some certifications out there that some recruiters recruiters are looking for, you know, like the CFA exam or the CFP exam. What do you guys in general, like, do you look for people to like to be planning on taking the CFP exam or the CFA exam or, you know, any certification you feel that would be a best fit for finance major to go into the wealth management?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, in our world, in the retail financial planning world, a CFA, why we have CFAs on our teams in the office.
Oh, wait.
Everybody still there?
Yeah, everyone's still there.
Okay. Yeah, I lost Steve for a sec. Steve, is Steve still on? Again, I have the presentation up, so I can't see anybody.
Yeah, everyone's here right now.
Okay. I guess, I don't know if Steve, I don't know how far he got, because I heard him get off as far as, you know, just about ready to talk about the exams or the licenses. You know, the CFA, yeah, we have CFAs on our teams. You know, people do have them on their teams in the office, you know, around the company. You know, they're the ones, I say they're the brains behind the operation of, you know, managing the portfolios. Not as important, you know, as far as just being an advisor. You know, you don't have to be the one, you know, building the portfolios, as I was mentioning earlier. You know, CFP, you know, you're not expected to like necessarily come into the business with any of this stuff. It's usually something like the CFP. I'm a CFP. I waited, you know, it took me almost 10 years in the business to like decide, well, to actually pass the exam and whatnot. Didn't take me 10 years to study and all that, but you know, it took me a while before I got my CFP and some other designations. But initially, to get in the gates, you know, with us, or, you know, really any wealth management firm, you know, if you're going to be retail, you're probably going to need your state insurance license, what's called your life, accident, and health. This exam called the SIE. So whether you're willing to go and, you know, you're looking to go into our business, or you want to go into investment banking, private equity, you know, anything like that, you're probably going to need the SIE and eventually the Series 7. And then the Series 66. The life and health, the SIE, the 66, you can all take without needing to be sponsored by a company. So if you were trying to give yourself a leg up, you know, that's a way to do it, is to try and knock some of that stuff out, because it certainly shows that you've taken the initiative, you know, and you're putting yourself in a good light, you know, if you're able to get those done early. Because, you know, when Steve and I are looking to hire, you know, one of the things that is a tough ramp up is getting people through licensing, right? So if someone is able to come in with some of those already knocked out, you know, that you, again, you're putting yourself in a good position that way. So.
And just to add on that, if anyone is interested in getting a discount on a SIE or CFA test prep course with Wiley, please see me at the end of this meeting, or you can email me. Just want to throw that point out as well.
Yeah, sorry, say that last part again.
I actually am a campus ambassador for Wiley, so I do actually talk about the CFA and the CFP exam, and we do have a discount going on. I believe it's like 20% off, I think, on our test prep course. So if anyone wants to get a discount on any of the SIE, fine, CFA, or the CFP exam prep courses, you can email me, you can see me at the meeting, we can just talk about that. But just want to throw out to all of our finance majors, if anyone is planning on taking those exams, you can test prep provider, Wiley, guy.
Hold on, I'm getting a message. Did you drop off? Let me back in. Sorry, Steve is texting me right now. He's having trouble getting back on. Sorry about that, guys.
That's all right.
Yeah. So, okay. Moving forward, and you know, so I guess, yeah, any additional questions, you know, on any of this stuff, on the, you know, current state or licenses. You know, ultimately, I would say, hey, you know, putting yourself in the best position to succeed. It might sound so basic, but taking class seriously, actually paying attention does help. You know, because if you are, you know, like you're just going to be more prepared. You know, that sounds basic, but it actually works. And an internship, you know, look, you got to start somewhere. You know, I think just having some, it doesn't have to necessarily be related to the industry. Obviously, if it is, that, again, that's helpful. But having an internship it at least gets you in a working environment, and it shows, again, that you've taken initiative to go work somewhere. And the earlier you can have one, whether you're a freshman, you know, going to be a sophomore, or sophomore going to be a junior, or junior going to be a senior. You know, obviously junior year going to be senior, you know, that's kind of your big summer. But, you know, if you can have anything, any work experience that you can show those other first couple of years, I think that's going to paint you in a good light. And, you know, ultimately, it really is about, you know, who you know and the different connections that you have. That's how I got in this business. You know, was through a connection. I played basketball in college. My college coach knew someone who worked at Equitable. I got an introduction. You know, that's how I learned about the career. And here we are, right? And I've helped plenty of people come into this business that I knew, you know, before, you know, when they were looking for jobs. And hey, they're still in the business. So, you know, I would encourage you, just do not be shy if someone, whether it's someone like Steve or myself, you know, who you've heard talk and you said, hey, that was pretty interesting, like to pick your brain on some more stuff, or it's someone that you know in your circle where you say, well, I either really trust them and, you know, would really value their opinion on stuff, maybe they could connect you to someone, or if it's someone who you say, wow, I really like what they do, I want to understand more about that. Like, you know, no one is going to turn down a conversation, you know, if you're asking about what they do, because ultimately everyone loves to talk about themselves, right? So if you're really trying to learn more about something, people will talk to you all the time. You know, hit up your alumni network, you know, anybody that you know who can make a connection for you, because that's going to be huge. And, you know, when it does come to, you know, opportunities at Equitable, I mean, look, we're headquartered in New York City, you know, in Manhattan. We have, you know, other corporate offices in Charlotte, in Syracuse. You know, we have branch offices in every state. You know, there's internships available throughout both, you know, the school year. Naturally, over the summer, that tends to be, you know, a really big time, you know, as it is with most companies, you know, for internships. Depending on, you know, locations, there might be externships available. Like I know we do one here in Boston, you know, to really give you kind of a quick hit on what it's like to be an advisor, you know, what it's like to be at Equitable. And then, of course, you know, we're always hiring, you know, as Steve mentioned, you know, full time, because we're looking to grow. Companies looking to double its advisor workforce in the next few years. And so, you know, we're looking to hire the right people all the time. Steve is still texting me for whatever reason, won't let him back in. So if he can't get in, you know, he's definitely a big thank you to everyone. So that's all I have for presentation stuff. I'm going to just take this down so I can put back up the window and see people. You know, what other questions maybe can I answer, you know, for those still hanging on here?
Any last questions for Brandon? Anyone on Zoom?
No, thank you.
If that's, oh, someone thought someone was going to talk. All right.
Okay. Well, I mean, if no other questions, that's all right. You know, hopefully, you know, you found this to be valuable. You know, I would say, you know, I can toss.
I have a quick question actually for you.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Really quick. If you could go back and do wealth management for like a established institution instead of having to like work and create your own clientele, like, would you?
No. I mean, so I would say that, Equitable, we've been around forever. They have the systems and everything to provide us to go, build your client base. And, I got into this business. I studied entrepreneurship and finance when I was in college, right? So I knew I wanted to be my own boss. I just didn't have any good ideas, right? For like starting a company or whatnot. And so, for me personally, and once you're in it, you see the beauty of working for yourself, controlling your own calendar, having the independence that you just doesn't exist if I were to go, say, work at a branch office at Fidelity, right? You're part of a big machine and you're doing everything the corporate way, and that's great. They're obviously an incredibly successful organization. I just personally wouldn't have wanted, to do it that way. But that's a good question.
Yeah.
Any last questions? All right, if there's not any last questions, thank you so much, Brandon, and thank you so much, Stefan, for joining us today. And basically, you guys can message them on LinkedIn, connect with them, do all that.
Yep, feel free. I just tossed my my email in the chat, so if anybody wants to reach out directly with any other questions, definitely connect with me. Jack, I really appreciate you reaching out and giving us the opportunity.
Same here, Brandon. Thank you so much. Wealth Management Advisory Club members, please stay behind. We do have some couple announcements to make. Thank you so much, Brandon. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right. A couple announcements I'm going to make. First off, I know we're having a problem with the Zoom license and all other stuff, so I will be saying that next week's meeting, there will be a new Zoom link. We are actually the club, we purchased our own Zoom license, so please keep your notification on. So we got the new Zoom links for that, and our link tree will be updated with those. Next week's meeting is going to be at 4 to 5 p.m. The reason why is because there's a P2P event at 5 p.m. I'm not making no conflict of interest happening, so the meeting will be at 4 p.m. The room will be the same because no one actually in this room. So the Zoom will be there. I do know we are talking with the Metro campus of a room open for our Metro members, so please stay tuned for that. Our upcoming meetings are Goldman Sachs on the 29th, October 6th, or IMA and myself come in and one of our IMA reps. And on the 13th, it is a mystery guest, you know who it is. So just a reminder, if you have not joined our group meeting, please see any of our members, or please, look at our link tree. If this is your first meeting, please stay behind in the Zoom, or if you're here in person, stay after. You can talk to me, I have your email list. If you want this kind of Wiley products, please see me. And if you're interested in joining our e-board, we are looking for our publicists. So if anyone's interested, and not care if you're business, and not care if you're actually marketing, finance, or accounting major, please see our e-board members. And we are going to do a market update every Tuesday from 3 to 4 p.m. And actually next week, John Budish and Rich Brewer are coming in person on the Forum campus. So if you guys want to go say hi to them, please do so. And the last thing, please download Suitable if you have not done already. But with that, before I end this meeting, it's time for Suitable Points. I know it's my favorite time, but maybe not so fun for everyone else. All right, anyone can scan the code right there. He's up there. I will try and get this recording of this meeting on our YouTube channel at some point, probably by Friday or Saturday. I know Codes and I have been talking about doing that, so I hopefully we'll have the recording by tonight. And then, yeah, if anyone else has any questions, comments, concerns, that is it. Thank you guys so much, and we're going to see you guys next week, 4 to 5 p.m. in this room, 12 and on Zoom. With that, that's it. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your week.